Are you a book lover or enthusiast? Do you need genuine and unique lifestyle products? Or are you looking for a place where you can find contemporary and a wide range of unique gifts for children and adults? Laterna is your go-to place for genuine and contemporary books and lifestyle products for wholesale and retail customers. We stock business books on management, leadership, financial success, entrepreneurship, personal development, and so much more. We carry children's fiction, non-fiction, educational books, CDs, and DVDs. We also stock Christian books on various themes, such as family life and parenting, church life and growth, spirit-filled living, love, sex, and marriage, to mention but a few. Laterna carries life and style books such as baby and child care, beauty and style, conception and pregnancy, crafts, and hobbies. We also carry adult, children, and teenagers' Bibles, educational toys, framed art, gifts, greeting cards, home and office fragrances, music CDs and DVDs, stationery, teachings, and lots more. Our stores are located at 12B and 13 Okoawo Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. You can also shop online at www.laternabooks.com. Laterna, your lifestyle hub for book lovers. For inquiries, call 0803 301 4462, 0906 0002046 or 7. Chat with us via WhatsApp on 0803 301 4462. You may also reach us on social media via Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Laterna Books and Laterna Ventures.
Thirtieth session of the Laterna Book Club since we started in July 2020. I'll start by introducing Laterna, an infopreneur. It's a leading literature importation, distribution, and marketing organization. We were established in 1994, and since 1996, we've been in the forefront of book selling of children's educational materials and also books, with access to over 100,000 titles. Laterna is a supplier to other retailers in most of the states in Nigeria. We have a strong focus on customer service, and we've been in the forefront of selling not just books, Bibles, toys, gift items, children's educational toys, Christian books, business books, music CDs, DVDs, gift wraps, gift bags, office fragrances, home fragrances, teachings, stationery, journals. We have a wide range of journals, different colors. And even as we are approaching Christmas for various organizations, we could brand them for you. Yellow, blue, green, purple, depending on your corporate brand. We also have diffusers, artwork, and various other products. Laterna currently runs a children's book club, and this holds every last Saturday of the month. It's a hybrid club. We do both virtual and physical, and we try to encourage our children to read, to share experiences, and engage them in interactive sessions. It's also done through Zoom. You can register your children for these sessions. Now, in order to encourage book reading for adults, we started the club last year on virtual. And today it's virtual, but for one of the few occasions, second time, we have our book reader, our reviewer in Laterna, presently in Laterna. I'd like to encourage you that the book for today, which is Make Today Count, can transform your life. It's a book that transformed my life, transformed my time, and made me focused in life when I read it about 7 years ago. My sister was going to celebrate her birthday and she wanted a book that would make an impact on people's lives. And we realized that this book would make you focused. You would not waste time, but you learn to invest your time and you learn to live a balanced life. Our books review sessions are also tailored towards organizations, banks, even public sector. And our team are here to deliver to these various organizations customized review sessions for the team in partnership with other various industry experts. So after the book club, if you're interested in us doing a presentation on not just the book club, but other trainings that we can customize towards your organization, we'll be happy to talk to you. We have on our team for the book club, Frank, Deji, Cecilia, Robert Lawson, Victoria, Nagi, Nathaniel, and so many other staff who work behind the scenes. Laterna is a lifestyle hub for you book lovers. Please sit back as you enjoy today's book session. As we know, books will bring the best out of you. Books will stimulate your creativity. Books will deepen your knowledge. Books will also even make you travel to places you haven't been to. Books will help you increase your confidence. And I know that this book will make a major impact on your life and my life. Sit back as we listen to our review for today. So I hand over to Mr. Gbenga Folayan, the MD, CEO of Rosette Consulting. He will be the moderator for today. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you very much, Mrs. Morgan, for this opportunity to be here with us one more time, and to thank the entire Laterna team for a great work that you have been doing. And I'd like to welcome everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome those of us who have been here with us. It's interesting to learn that this is the 30th edition already. That's 30 great books reviewed. And we want to really thank as many of you. Some have been with us all the 30 sessions. Some have not been able to. We appreciate you all the same. And for those joining us for the first time today, we indeed hope that it's going to be not just a learning time, a fruitful time, but also a fun time for you as we share together this great book. And for those who have been here before, could you just type a word in welcome to one another? And also just a word describing what the Laterna Book Club has been to you. Just one word, nothing more than that. Quick, sharp. I like to see you in the chat room, everybody. And while we're doing that, We indeed want to welcome today our erudite scholar. He's also indeed somebody who has been involved in change, in transformation, in the leadership of companies, and also someone who is very much interested in personal leadership. Our reviewer today is Mr. Kayode Oluwasegun Ojo. He is a finance professional, but with a great track record in change management and business transformation. His experience covers audit, assurance, banking, non-bank financial services, aviation, and maritime services. He is a John Maxwell certified coach, speaker, teacher, and trainer, and the managing partner of Florichen, a leadership consulting and coaching firm set up in 2018. Prior to this, he was until September 2017 the group managing director of Japol Oil and Maritime Services. And since he commenced in career in 1987 as an audit trainee in various audit firms, including Ernst & Young, he has held key positions in Midas Merchant Bank, acquired by FCMB, MBC International Bank, acquired by First Bank PLC, where he rose to be the treasurer and head of Treasury Group, with focus on structured finance, and at Associated Discount House, now Coronation Merchant Bank. He was appointed to the board of Nigeria Aviation Handling Company, NACO PLC, as its pioneer executive director of finance and strategic planning training. In 2009, subsequently became the managing director from 2011 to 2015. He is well read. He has a BSc Economics from the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University. He is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, an INSEAD certified director, and with over 10 years boardroom experience. He is a member of both the UK and Nigerian Institute of Directors. He has been a mentor in Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurs Program from inception to date. He's passionate about personal growth, development, and leadership, as we learned earlier. He is happily married to Ayo Oluwasegun Ojo, who is also a finance professional whose professional interests include organizational development and business improvement with focus on women and MSMEs. It is indeed with joy that I invite today our book reviewer, Mr. Kayode Oluwasegun Ojo. We want to welcome you. But before you start your review, there is always also something we do, which is to tell us, we show us a list of books that are relevant, not just to today's topic, but also to personal development. And so before we bring you on, even though we welcome you, Mr. Kayode Oluwasegun Ojo, we welcome you warmly. We'd like to ask and request the Laterna team to show us a short clip on relevant books. Laterna team, thank you very much. Thank you very much to the Laterna team. And I see you all also in the chat box. I'm seeing quite a number of comments, excellent, inspiring, there are just quite a number of things that we have said there. We have just so many comments there. Those of us who have not added, educated, interesting, value-adding, awesome, informative, great, okay? Thank you all for your comments. For those who haven't added there, just drop something there. Let's know how you have felt being a part of this. And Mr. Kayode, Oluwasegun, Joe, a bit strange being so formal with you, but that's the way it is today. You have the floor.
No problem. Thank you so much, Mr. Benga. We call you PG. First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to management of Laterna. Great shout out to PRM, that's what I call him. Formal and no formal, Sister Yinka remains Yinka. This is a great opportunity to share with people. And reading the book actually made me go back to a number of things. So if you just give me a minute, I'll just start sharing the screen and we'll run through the things that, I've picked from this, and hopefully we'll share quite a bit together. Okay, so the book, Make Today Count. The payoff line really is that the secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda. I'd like to just, take the introduction. We know a lot about John Maxwell. He's an American author, speaker, and a leadership expert. So the book opens with a couple of questions that are designed to make us think. First question speaks about the future. The second question interrogates our sense of accomplishment or fulfillment. How do we define success? And then it closes with a simple theory that what you do on a daily basis will give a clear indication of the direction that your life is headed to. And that theory forms the basis of this book. The theory simply states that the secret of anyone's success is determined by his or her daily agenda. He goes on to, still tell us in the introduction, three things that I think are very important. And my comments are in red. Number one is that good decisions without daily discipline results in a plan without a payoff. My comment is that that's frustration. Frustration is, you know what to do, but you don't, follow through with discipline required to make it happen. The second thing it says is that a daily discipline without good decision results in regimentation. So you're disciplined, but you're not doing the right things. Then there's no fulfillment. And I'm sure that some of us can relate to that. Then the last part, which is really good, is that you have good decisions, you have daily discipline, and there's a masterpiece of potential. And that's what I call a constant sense of fulfillment. And like Mrs. Morgan had said, I read this book a while ago. Actually, what I read is Today Matters. And I would, recommend that you read that. This Today Matters is bigger. This Make Today Count is, I guess, shortly for, maybe the younger generation who would like to read so much. But Today Matters is a really great book. And the principles there were just shrunk into this Make Today Count. So back to Make Today Count. He says we should note the following. We don't make decisions because they're easy. We don't make decisions because they're cheap. We don't make decisions because they are popular. Rather, good decisions should come because they are right. That's extremely important. They are right. After laying the foundation, he then introduces us to 12 critical areas which should form a basis for taking good decisions. And that will form the thrust of the book review. These 12 criteria are what he calls the daily dozen. All right. So if we pick them one by one, 12 criteria. What I just did for sake of ease of presentation, and I have a bit of a mathematical mind, is divide the 12 by 3. You have 4 things there. So criteria 1 to 4, attitudes, priorities, health, family. 5 to 8, thinking, commitment, finances. Then 9 to 12, relationships, generosity, values, and growth. So let's jump right into it with the first one. Attitude really tells us how do you see things and how do you respond based on how you see things. It tells us in this chapter, and by the way, I like the way the book is organized because it takes each principle in a chapter and asks us 3 questions at the end, which are thought-provoking. So it says you need to take responsibility for your attitude. You need to decide to change your bad attitudes where you have them. You need to decide to behave like the person you want to become. You should place a high value on people and then make daily adjustments to improve your attitude. It means that you won't get there overnight. He says you should find something positive in every event or circumstance. And as a result, you should stay positive in your conversations. He also tells us that we should remove negative words from our vocabulary, and we should, make it a habit to express gratitude to others on a daily basis. That helps us. The next thing he points out is that we should have priorities. And there's a very interesting thing he brings out here. A gentleman years and years ago called Alfredo Pareto came up with a principle. Some of us may have heard the Pareto principle, which basically says that 20% of things, persons, events are responsible for 80% of results. And what he says is that we should focus on our areas of strength, 20%, that is going to give us 80% return. Everybody has areas of strength, and really everybody has areas of weakness. And he says to help us focus on our areas of strength, we should ask 3 questions. Number 1, what is required of me? Number 2, what gives me the greatest return? Number 3, what gives me the greatest reward? And I would like to just say a little bit here, because these days we hear a lot about pursue passion. It's great to pursue passion, which is what gives you reward fulfillment. But if there's no return, I don't know how long you'll be able to pursue the passion. And the first thing for me is what's required of me. That speaks of discipline. So if you don't have discipline, you would give up one day while pursuing your passion. And so sometimes I tell you, before you start pursuing your passion, why don't you find out what's required of you? Build discipline and commitment, and then you can dovetail into pursuing your passion. He says we must invest in people, stay in our strength zone, and delegate whenever it's possible. The principle of delegation is important because if you're going to prioritize and focus using Pareto principle, there's some things you have to let others do because they can do it better than you, and you need to stay in your own area of strength. Now, it's amazing that even though these books were written a while ago, that's Today Matters and Make Today Count, immediately after Attitude and Priorities, John speaks about, health. Considering the pandemic and all that has happened, I'm sure all of us know that health is extremely important now. And he recommends the following. You should have a purpose worth living for. This is extremely important because mental health is, up there right now and is way beyond physical health. If you don't have a purpose worth living for, you will give in to just anything. He said we must decide, know, and follow health guidelines daily. Recently, I spoke to my uncle, I think on Sunday, he was 90. Him and my father went to school together, but it's actually my mom's cousin. There are habits the man has had ever since I've known him, and he sticks with them. So you need to know and follow health guidelines daily. Do the work that you enjoy so you can have fulfillment. Find your pace. Accept your personal worth. Everybody is worth something. Nobody is useless. Then the next 3 things are important. Eat right. And I know many of us will have a challenge here. But what I encourage people is that where we're at now, because I don't think there's any 10-year-old on this call, whatever you've eaten for the last 10, 20, 30 years, I mean, if you don't eat again, you'll be okay. Then do exercise, laugh, very important. Laughter is good, it helps, And then he advises us to handle stress effectively. And there's something that is very important there. He said, most of the modern day illnesses are stress related. That's amazing. In the past, illnesses used to be because of infectious diseases, but now it's stress related. So we need to really watch out there. Interestingly, immediately after speaking about health, he jumps into family. And we're talking about make today count and success. So we haven't started hearing about finance and all the rest yet. He says we need to make a decision to communicate and care for our family daily. You must decide on your philosophy. What is it you believe as a family? What do you want to do? Develop a strategy to solve problems, because there will be problems. Decide to put your family first. Create and maintain family traditions. There are things that families do. Continue to do that. Find ways to spend time together. Keep your marriage healthy first. Express appreciation for each other and resolve conflicts as quickly as possible. Amazing. The next thing he says, and I'd just maybe take a little bit more time than others here, is thinking. Probably because I'm passionate about this, and I feel that for most of us that come from less developed countries, the major difference between us and developed countries is, setting time out to think. So John says, decide to practice and develop good thinking on a daily basis. Now, understand that great thinking is a result of good thinking. So if you first start and it doesn't appear as if you're getting great results, continue. Practice makes perfect. He goes on to break it down, and in the book, he just mentions it. So probably it's something we need to do research. It talks about 11 kinds of thinking. He says thinking is multifaceted. It's not one directional. There's big picture thinking, there's focused thinking, creative, realistic, strategic thinking, and it goes on, there's possibility thinking, there's reflective thinking. And I like the last three. It says there's a thinking that questions popular thinking. If the people who built geography and science for us didn't query the thinking that the earth was flat, we'll probably still be, where we are today, not moving in planes or ships because we are afraid that we'll fall off the end of the earth. So there's a place to question popular thinking. Then there's shared thinking, there's unselfish thinking, and bottom line thinking. He admonishes that we should set time aside daily to think. Find a place that works for you. Some of us enjoy thinking where there's noise around. Some prefer where there's silence. Some want to sit by the stream. Some want to sit on the mountain, whatever it is. But very important with thinking, document your thoughts. Don't be lazy to write things down. And then spend time with good thinkers. One of the ways I recommend spend time with good thinkers is to read a book like this book. He now dives into things that we need to do, personally, beyond just theory. Commitment. Commitment is something I believe the older generation, I'm talking about those 70s and above, have a lot more than we. We seem to have charisma, but commitment is something that, in my own opinion, we could do a lot better on. So you must count the cost when it comes to commitment. You must determine to pay the price. Always strive for excellence, whether anybody's watching you or not. You must appreciate that there's going to be a struggle to be committed, and then you shouldn't rely on talent alone. Why? Because if you rely on talent alone, some days what will come across, you just tell yourself, I don't want to do this thing. And that's why it says, focus on choices, not on conditions. And you must be single-minded. Finally, it says, you need to do what is right, even when you don't feel like it. That's why I said the older generation seems to be quite strong on commitment, more than we can, and we can learn from them. Then he talks about finances. And it's important that, he's saying about 4 or 5 things before he talks about finances. And one of the first things I picked there is that he has a formula, him and his wife, Margaret, follow. 10% for church or charity, another 10% to invest, and they live on 80%. It's amazing because these are theories that you find in other books like Richest Man in Babylon. And even in the Bible, if you read Genesis 47, this is what Joseph was talking about. He said we must put value of things into perspective. Everything is not about money. Recognize that there are seasons of life for everyone. And that, wherever you are at, you must be willing to learn, then you can earn, and you must always give back. Give back. That's your CSR. He admonishes us to reduce debt. You need to find a financial formula that works for you, and then you need to have a good work ethic. Last 2 things he says there, I really love. You need to make commitment, I beg your pardon, contentment and gratitude daily habits. We think too much about what we don't have as opposed to what we do have. And there's a quote there I love in that chapter. It says, give as much as you can. Why? Money is like manure. If it piles up, it just smells. Think about that, manure. But if you spread it around, it can encourage things to grow. Now, I have a background in economics, and I can tell you that one of the reasons why developed countries are not yet there as opposed to developing countries, because there's a theory called the velocity of money theory. Money moves around very quickly in the developed countries as opposed to those of us that are developing. Back in the day before POS and all these transfers, you write a check, it takes forever. You want to do business on Friday, you get there, you can't wait until Monday. Over there, things are always happening at the speed of thoughts. All right. The next thing he says, key here is faith. So John is a Christian, and I mean, as was mentioned in my profile, I'm actually a John Maxwell certified coach. I've met John before. He's very open about the fact that he's a Christian, and he speaks in the book about when he made a decision to accept Jesus into his life. And so the interesting thing is that he doesn't preach per se in this chapter, but there are a couple of things he says which I think we must take home. Everybody must make his or her own faith decision. He says we already have faith. Why? You're sitting down on a chair somewhere. You plan to attend this Zoom meeting and you didn't check 20 times if your phone was going to work. You had enough faith. We just have simple, basic faith. And he says the important thing is where you place your faith is your choice. He warns us that faith is often birthed out of difficulty. So if things are tough, doesn't mean that you don't have faith. He says that a faith that hasn't been tested cannot be trusted, and that we must embrace the value of faith. What I love he says there is that put God into the picture. You must introduce God in the picture. Then associate with people of faith, and then explore and deepen your faith. Great. He also tells us about relationships. He says we need to place a high value on people. And I recommend that if you don't place a high value on yourself, it might be difficult for you to place a high value on other people. But quickly, let me just say this to us that, if you think about science and how you are conceived at all, you are very high value because millions of sperms gave way for you to come into the world. So you must place value on people, place value on yourself, learn to understand people, give respect freely, give it, but expect to earn it from others. Commit yourself to adding value to others. That's one thing John is very hot on, adding value, adding value. Help people to identify their own abilities, help them to discover and develop those abilities. I think at this point, I must just say this, and PRM wouldn't mind. If not for him and God's grace, I wouldn't be a John Maxwell certified coach. He spoke to me after I felt, I'm not doing this MD work again, and here I am today. So identify ability in people, help them to discover and develop those abilities. Put others first. Please, please, please don't carry emotional baggage. Just resolve and forgive. We're not perfect, and neither are the other set of people. So just forgive and move on. Give time to your most valuable relationships, serve others gladly, and then express love and appreciation often. Express love and appreciation often. We're too quick to criticize and say what's wrong. You must learn to also say what's right. Okay, generosity. He says, give others your money, give others yourself too. Value people. You need to know what people value. Make yourself more valuable. I was listening to somebody recently, and he says, rather than you always disturb people at what you want from them, think about what you can serve to them. There's always something you can do that will add value to people. Do what God values. And I love this. You don't need to wait till you have a lot of money to become generous. A young man used to come to my house years ago, early in the morning on a Saturday, want to wash my car, what's wrong with this guy? Have it tried. But I understood where he's coming from. He doesn't do it anymore, but I mean, I can see where he has gotten to. So find a reason to give every day and find people that can receive every day. There are always people. If you look, you will find them. All right. We are about wrapping up. He speaks about values. Create a good list of values, then embrace those values. There's no point writing it down if you're not going to do anything about it. Make a decision to live those values daily. Remember the book title is Make Today Count. So it's about what you do on a daily basis becomes a habit and a pattern and stays with you for the rest of your life. He says you should articulate and embrace your values daily. Compare your values with your daily practice. That's review. What you say you value, is that what you do? Then live out your values regardless of your feelings. That's a tough one because sometimes we don't feel like doing certain things. And every day you must evaluate your day in the light of your values. I'll just share this with us. The last thing he mentioned there, if you evaluate your day in the light of your values and you keep getting, 9 over 10, you are likely to feel more fulfilled than frustrated. But if you are getting low marks and you feel frustrated, why? Frustration occurs when you know what to do, but you don't do it, right? Last but one thing he tells us Yep, okay, values, then he speaks about growth. And I mean, John is so passionate about growth. So he tells us we must decide to seek and experience growth daily. He recommends that if you're married, make that commitment to grow with your spouse. That's what he did with his spouse, Margaret. Identify your potential. And I love this. Potential really is the gap between your current reality and your vision. So a lot of people say, I'm frustrated. It's great. It means that you have a picture of where you could be. It's different from where you are now. That is your potential. So work on the potential with commitment and discipline. Be willing to change. Growth is the same thing as change. Simple analogy. Any child that you know, whether yours, your cousin, your nephew, that you saw 3 years ago, you see the child now, the child has grown. Change has occurred. So that is it. Growth is change. And he recommends that we set growth goals. And you must understand that it's a journey. So it may not happen overnight. Quick tip maybe for those who want to lose weight or all. Look, the weight came over a couple of years. It's not going to disappear in a couple of weeks. Just decide that you're going to do it day by day. Change. Remember the principle at the beginning, what you set your mind to do daily and continue, in a matter of years, you will see the change. And then he just gives some specific examples that he followed himself, listened to audio lessons every week. But I know things have changed now. We have YouTube and what have you, so there may not be tapes and all that, but that's the point. You know, get yourself stuff that can help you grow. He says, read at least two books a month. I strongly recommend this. I must give credit to my parents. They're both still alive, but by the time I was going to boarding house, I'd read all the Hadley Chase books that there were to read. I just, reading was just a habit. You must just learn to read, and it helps us. Then he says you should set a monthly appointment for growth. Maybe he's going to be attending this book review. Set appointment for growth. Spend time with great people and expect to learn from them. True story. Years ago, I met somebody who later I worked with, when he became the chairman of NACO. But I told him when he was interviewing me over dinner, I said, sir, even if I don't get the job, I'm glad that I met you. He laughed. I said, you're a great man. I mean, I will learn from you. So, and that's the truth. Then file what you learn, document. And this is like the second time this is coming up. And then apply what you learn. And let me add this, share what you learn. When you share what you learn, it stays with you much more than just applying. That is the truth. In any case, the people you shared with will remind you one day, especially when you don't feel like that. I thought you said A, B, C, D, E. So that's it. Let me just conclude. The conclusion, some of us, when we want to be lazy, you pick a book, you read the beginning and you read the end to find out what it's like, So I'm not saying I did that with this book, but I just want to recommend that, look at the conclusion. He says something, you can make today great. You can, the potential is there. The key, and that's why we have the picture of the key, is to make the most decisions of your life and then manage those decisions on a consistent basis. Consistency is the key. Anybody that can do that will make each day a masterpiece. I take this quote from John. He says, by making today great, you can make your life great, because when you take care of today, tomorrow will take care of itself. See, you may not apply all of the daily dozen, even he says so. You can modify them to suit your circumstance, but I have this to say to us, and it's a parting shot. Please take ownership. If it's three you want to apply them, and make sure that you take ownership of them and make them useful. And like I said, after you've learned, please share with others. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate everyone for your listening ears.
So much. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluwasegun Ojo, for that concise but very deep sharing on several excerpts from the book. The usual practice is that there will be a little bit of time for questions. And we want to thank you very much for that incisive time. So the chat room is open. We will like to have questions from as many people as possible. We will also take 1 or 2 questions live which means that if you do put up your hand, we will be able to take you. So we've got the 12 daily dozen: attitude, priorities, health, family, thinking, commitment, finances, faith, relationship, generosity, values, and growth. Can I just choose one or two of them and practice that? Or what is advised? Can I just say, oh, I just love this one out of the 12. That's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay. One of the things that John concludes with is that you might not exactly, take all the 12, but I would say that one or two wouldn't be enough, maybe 3 or 4, because, if you notice, they cut across different things. And the objective of Make Today Count is about living life of balance. There are various things that are going to be contending with, your family is contending, your finance contending, faith is contending, and it's important that we pick across the strata. The tendency is to pick the ones that you feel are easy and leave the ones that you think are hard. But I'm a football fan, and soccer is one not based on goals you score, it's based on ability to stop goals from being scored. So it's good that you also look at defense. So I would recommend at least 5 or 6 of this that you pick and start to work on them, not just 1 or 2.
Okay, they're supposed to be daily. They're supposed to be practices and habits, and one of the keys will be to grow to such an extent, isn't it, that these become a part of our life at different times. And so
That's true.
It can help us. Probably the things we're going through may then enhance our focus on each. But what I hear you say is that big picture look, thinking should really get us looking at all these sides, whereas we're also looking at balance. I would like to thank you very much for that. An interesting thing, another interesting thing there is he says we should focus on areas of strength. How do we take that with the general focus on improving on our weaknesses?
Okay, so the point to be made is this. Everybody has an area of natural gifting or talent. Now, it's extremely important that you take that gift that God has given you and become skillful at it, right? So that you are the best you can be in that area of strength. However, in place of, when he spoke about attitudes, he also warned us about watching out for bad attitudes and tell ourselves that we'll improve on them. So let me use myself as an example. Speaking is my strength. I can speak from now till tomorrow morning. So what do I do to make sure I don't speak forever? For example, this review, I had a presentation. The presentation ends, you keep quiet. Otherwise, you just keep talking, because it's important that I use the word again, have balance. So we can pick areas of weakness, find ways to improve on them, but your strengths you must work on. That is why he recommends that we identify ability in others, delegate. So the people who are stronger in other things, you let them do that, and you face the areas where you are the strongest. That's what I...
All right. So again, priorities come in there. And so the greatest priority really should be on those areas of strength, isn't it? While we also take into considerations the potential for growth and development in those areas where we may not be as skillful, or we may not have really experienced that level of grace. There's always a tension there, isn't it? And I think Maxwell addresses that a lot in many of his books.
True.
All right. Yeah. Before we take the others, please remember the 2 books, Make Today Count and Today Matters, both by John Maxwell, which we have been told about today, the one we're reviewing, and the other that Mr. Oluwasegun Ojo has mentioned is available at 3,000 Naira and 5,600 Naira, respectively. Please, we're waiting for your questions. I can see quite a lot, isn't it, of comments there on the presentation and a lot of the things that have been spoken. But we'd like to hear you. So if I can see a hand up there, we need to, okay, somebody has mentioned tomorrow needs attention too, okay. Right, all right. Okay, there's a question, there's a funny question. Okay, yeah, I think that has been addressed by the question I asked now, but he says this is a very funny question. I think I have lots of areas of strength. My challenge is to know where to focus on, and I think that's a challenge for many people. What would you say to that, sir?
Okay, so I'd address it from maybe multiple dimensions. First of all, what opportunities are available to you? I'm a person of faith, and I believe that God organizes our life, for occasions. So there are things around you that can play to your strengths. I would say that will give you an indication of what you need to focus on right now. If I use myself as an example, I did banking for almost 20 years. I've always loved speaking and presenting, but it was in the second bank I worked in that the CEO has a love for, leadership and training. And he set up a training school, and I found myself going there a lot of time. Before then, I was almost leading the banking industry. So the opportunities that come your way give you an idea. The second thing is ask people who are close to you. They will tell you the truth. The third thing is what are the kind of problems that people are always referring to, your in-laws, your family, everybody. It gives you an idea of where your strengths are. Last but not the least, list all the so-called strengths down. And, without thinking, as you list them down, give each of them a mark. You can't give over 10. The ones that have the highest mark tell you that's what you should focus and prioritize on now. Master them and then flip over to the others. That's what I recommend so that we don't get confused.
Okay. Focus is always very good. Most growth and development authors will tell us we can't do everything at every time. And so we need to have those kind of filters, like you have said, that help us to know what we should focus on today. Now, a very interesting thing, you mentioned usually, that tension between, what is my passion and what I need to do. But another thing that I see is usually that tension of doing what I like. There was a recommendation there that we should do what we like. How can we do the work we like when for most people, the reality of their lives is that they are stuck in whatever job they find?
Okay. All right. So my recommendation will be drawn from my own personal experience. I'm a professional accountant. I read economics, I did banking, but I always knew I was going to leave the banking industry. But that didn't stop me from working there and excelling there. Many times you have to do what you need to do, right? And then you move on to what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. What I tell people is this: there's a discipline that you acquire when you are doing what you need to do and what you have to do. And believe you me, you are going to need that discipline when it comes to the area of your passion. I've spoken to a client before on a Friday, and amazingly, the guy is so interested in getting the job done, and he's bombarding me with phone calls, and he's traveling. He's calling me in the airport the night. The next morning, he's already calling again. If I don't have discipline, the part he wants to deliver will not come out on time. But I learned those disciplines from days I've slept 2 nights in the bank working. Do you understand? So that's what I tell people. And I actually believe that there's a place of preparation so that when you hit the place of passion, it will flow. Now, you might not like this example. I'm not necessarily a Ronaldo fan, but that is an example. So he's passionate about football, but the guy preps, and see him today back at his former team again, still, whatever it is. So I recommend to people that it's true that, we're passionate about things, but let's also incorporate, the discipline of learning how to get things done, just the grind, and with time, I can assure you, with time, it's a matter of when, not if. You will get to that place where the opportunity that you want will happen. My whole career is just a testament of that. With time, it will happen. And when it happens, with somebody like, wow, you mean you had this in you? So that is it. Let's do what we need to do now, build ourselves up. Along the line, you can continue to do what the British parliamentarians are doing, shadow MP. You can continue to shadow that thing. And one day, when you are in the right position, you show off it, but your discipline and your commitment will come to play at those times.
Right? So focus, commitment, persistence, growth, build in the areas of doing what you have to do today or what you find yourself doing, but
Yes.
look out for opportunities, isn't it,
Yes.
in the
Yes.
area of your interest. And
Yes.
when that happens, of course, all the things you've learned, isn't it, through your preparation will come to the fore in helping you and actually drive your passion to. And I like the way you put it earlier on, passion without returns.
It's hunger.
It's serious hunger. Okay, that's it. All right, we have a hand up when Mimo Oludu sing. While she's preparing to do that, quite a few comments. The answer you gave on the question of multiple strengths is fantastic. And somebody reflects what you have said, do what you need to do, what you have to do, what you want to do, and discipline cuts across that. While we're preparing for Wemimo, there's a question there. What is the role of talent in our lives? We'll take that, and then Wemimo can please ask her question. What's the role of talent?
Okay, so I believe that talent is a natural gifting. Nobody is useless. God makes everybody with at least one or two talents. Challenge is to discover the talent. And challenge is sometimes, probably in our environments, for people not to look down on your talents. So the comedian, actor, and actress, and whatever, Helen Paul, I understand she's always been talkative. She says so herself, but this is an area of gifting, you know. So beyond your talent, what we must all do is to pick that talent and become the best at it. When you are skillful in your area of gifting or talent, then nothing can stop you. So yes, the talent is a gift. It has an area in your life, but many of us just leave it there at talent. You must work on the talent and it becomes a gift. There's a story I always tell people. So the popular musician Lagbaja, I went to school with his younger sister. We grew up around the same environment. He's always been into this music matter. I'm talking way, way back when I was like, what, 9, 10 years old. And I mean, his parents and sisters, so he has a first degree, a second degree. I remember I used to do jams somewhere in Ireland. My cousin would go there. But one day, you know, opportunities came and he blew. The time he'd spent, you know, grooming, working on his talent with discipline and all, put him on the stage where he is today. So yes, your talent is a gift to you. It has a role to play, but you also must work on that talent and bring, you know, something out of it. Maybe the summary is, talent is a gift that God has given you. Your skills are the gift that you give back to God or give back to the world to glorify God based on how much you've improved yourself in the area of talent.
Right? Own your skills by improving on your talent, by developing, by investing in it. Wemimo, can we hear you, please?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much, Pastor Coyote. Part of my question has been answered already, but I will still say that sometimes you look at your life for fear of looking like the rich, young, whatever that met Jesus and say, all this I have done since I was young. And then there was one more thing added, and then it went away sad. Sometimes you have a feeling that you have done all of this in today's class, all of the things we learned today. You feel like, well, you are close to marking yourself like you have done all of this. And there's still this part of you feeling like, in your mid-40s, you are not getting the dividends of, you don't feel like you are getting dividends of all of this. And you think you have, I mean, as we're going on looking at all of this, well, you said, give it time. Sometimes the questions come and you feel like, what more should I do? That's my question.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, it's interesting. There's another book of John's I'd recommend. It's called Sometimes You Lose, Sometimes You Learn. And basically it tells us that, you know, so-called negative circumstances are places where we learn, and we must learn from those things. 3 things I'll tell you, my dear sister. You are still alive, so there's a plan, obviously, for you. Patience, you've had enough patience to date, but still a little bit more patience. And I'll just give an example from a local figure we know and an international figure. So in the 90s, Aliko Dangote was rich, but not the richest man in Africa. But I tell you categorically that as far back as 1998, he set up on a plan. 1998. That's a long time. By 1998, PwC was meeting with him every day. He was talking to McKinsey. That's serious. Talking to McKinsey is not something you do for 5K US dollars. And so he had a long-term plan and he landed where he is today. And I believe he's still working out that plan. The second example I'll give is a man called Warren Buffett. He lives in Omaha, Nebraska in the United States of America. He's made money from financial services, basically. He's not in Wall Street anywhere. He started his company in 1964, 74, nobody knew him. 84, nobody knew. 94, they started hearing about him. 2004, he landed on the scene. And from that time on, he's still been, on the scene. So I would say that if you feel you're already on the right path, keep at it and decide that you're going to be the best you can. Remember, there's something called opportunity. Opportunity is when, like time and chance meet themselves. You will definitely get that return. I'm sure you will. But one of the things I tell you is that probably for many of us, the period of no return is to train us so that that will not be your major preoccupation. People I've met, and I've met quite a few people by God's grace in my life. I mean, extremely wealthy people, like billionaire status. One of the things about them is that the money is just, what they do is what they're enjoying, and they're just glad to keep doing it. So if we learn to find fulfillment in that, it won't be a challenge. But I just want to assure you that you will get there. If I give you an example of myself, so the profile was read. I was in banking from 91 to 2009. My wife is on the call. When we met in 96, I told her I would leave banking. I didn't leave till 2009. Do you know how long that took? And I'd always told myself that I'll be the head of a finance function. How long do you wait for that? That I wasn't going to take any job as an accountant except I was head of finance function. It happened, but it took God knows how long. I qualified as an accountant in 93. This thing did not happen till 2009. But when it happened, I was well prepared for it. So please keep at it. I'm sure you're on the right track.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Keep at it. There's another question there in the chat box. It says, the world has its own view on what success is, which usually is tied to achieving financial wealth and success. What is John Maxwell's view of what success is?
Okay, great question. Quickly, let me add this for Wemimo. It might help you if you get a coach or a mentor too, because sometimes other people can help you put things in perspective and it might not look as bad as you think it is. I've been there before. I felt everything was down. And he told me, what's wrong with you? And really, in a couple of years, I found out what he was saying was right. But to this question, John's philosophy is value. Give value, give value, give value. Value, yes, may have a monetary attachment to it, but value for me, I make it very simple. It's even between the costs and the benefits. If the benefit is greater than the cost, then there's a value. If it's the other way, there's no value. And let me tell you, you can't hide with value. The malams that are selling things on the street, they are there because they are valuable. If there's no value, nobody will pay. The market, which is the people, always determines value. That's the truth of the matter. We shouldn't confuse value to always be money. If you keep delivering value, it's a matter of time before the money would come. So his philosophy is about value. That's the truth. And I also share that philosophy. Just give value.
Right. Thank you so much. Value, value, value. Again, we've got quite a number of comments in the chat box, but I think we have looked at the questions that there are in that chat box. Last question, and then we can round off. Last question. You want to share with us something about thinking? He spoke about good thinking. He spoke about unselfish thinking. He spoke about bottom line thinking. I mean, he had so many adjectives for thinking. What's the place of that? And how can we actually up our game in that area so that we can leverage on great thinking for progress, both on a personal level and also for our dear nation, Nigeria?
Wow, that is a fantastic question. And Okay, let me start like this. Somebody who spends time to think about today, to think about tomorrow today is going to start tomorrow faster than those who waited till tomorrow to start thinking. I'll take that again. Somebody who spends time to think about tomorrow today will start tomorrow faster than those. When I first started work, I didn't grow up in Lagos. I wasn't used to all the traffic and stuff. By Sunday, all the clothes I was going to wear to work, shirt and tie combination suit was ready. I just wake up and plug and play. It spends some time to think. And I used to get to work earlier than a couple of other people. So thinking has a great role to play. Sadly, we have been vilified as the Negroes, that if you want to hide anything from us, put it in a book, and all the rest. And I think we need to change that narrative. And like John said, it's not only about textbook, sitting in the class thinking. It's just about you sitting down to reflect, consider the things that, you see around you. Like I said, I discovered a long time ago that one of the reasons we are developing and the developed world is developing is because of the velocity of money. I mean, you get into the UK, and at least back then, there's some things they could come to you almost like yesterday. They are trusting you. You have a card, okay, we'll make it available. In Nigeria, we're still writing checks, and the checks will not clear over the weekend. So if we think, spend time to process, we're going to improve on what we do. There will be innovation, there will be creativity. And I want to share two examples with us for us to know that as a nation, we can think and we do think. The problem is that maybe sometimes those who think are not bold enough to come out with their thinking. Okay, so I'll say this. Everybody who's traveled outside of Nigeria knows that when you use your card, your ATM card, unlike in Nigeria where the money comes out and the card afterwards, overseas and everywhere else, including Ghana, it's the other way around. Now, the facts are that when the ATM, revolution started in Nigeria, it wasn't like that. But I was in the banking industry, so I know. And people were always complaining, they will forget their card, it was an issue. And the complaints filtered through to the central bank. At that time, the former emir of Kano, SLS, His Excellency, was the governor of central bank. So he called all the banks together and said, look, we're tired of this complaints, sort it out. And so the bank said, well, the manufacturer said it cannot work. He said, what do you mean? With all the market want to provide for them in Nigeria, you better tell them that if they don't want to do it, then nothing for them. That's the truth. That's exactly what happened. Sometimes you need boldness. So it was a Chinese guy. You remember there was a time Chinese ATMs were becoming popular. Before the rest, I said, we will lose out on this market. And from then on, we started to have the issue of, you finish, your cash comes, then you take your card. It's about thinking, because the psyche of the Nigerian is just different. The second example is the issue of GSM. Truthfully, I'm not aware. In Europe, they don't bill per second, neither in the US. So when the GSM revolution started and we're being told that it can only be per minute, it's because the back-end providers to the GSM guys, the Alcatels, the what have you, that's what they sold to them. And along came a man called Mike Adenuga, entered into the industry and decided he needed to find a way to break in. And so he came and told his people, you have to do per second. And they were like, he said, well, you're going to miss out on the market. And the rest is story. Some people went ahead to do the work, and this is where we are. So thinking is important because it helps solve problems, it gives breakthrough, it bursts innovation and creativity, and it adds value. What I always tell people on a closing note with this is that we're eager to buy new phones, new cars, and what have you. It's a product of somebody's thinking. So for yourself as an individual, do some thinking so you can become a better version of yourself. For ourselves as a nation, we cannot wait until everything is all right. I've given two examples which are stand out in terms of industry practice. Thinking was done, and this is where we are today. So we can think and we can come out to think. It doesn't matter if everybody else is not thinking. If you think, you will stand out, particularly if you are ready to, you are bold enough to, stick with what you have thought about. People always ask me, why did I transit from banking, outside? I've given it some thought. I read an article in '96 by Paula Adeola, and he made it clear that the finance industry is only relevant and successful as far as there's a real industry. Because it's when people are doing things that they will bring money or they'll come and borrow money. And so I decided that my career will not be complete if I don't go to the real sector of the industry too. It's just some thinking. You just, step back and do a bit of thinking. So those are the, examples I give, individual, country-wise, and, thank you.
Thank you very much. Think, process, innovate. I add the word play. And play, I mean act. And you've also said value. So those critical things, think, process, thinking. There's a process the thing you think about. And so let it lead to innovation. But don't just, innovation is really innovation when it brings up, improved services, improved products, isn't it?
Yes.
And so you got to play in the market, play in the field, be there in the field of play, and you will indeed multiply value. You create value, you add value, multiply value over the time. We really, really, really must thank you, sir, for the thought that you have put behind this presentation, which is really, really seen in the way this has gone and all those thoughtful actions over the years. We really want to thank you for sharing with us from your deep well of experiences. I want to thank you, both yourself and your mentor, John Maxwell, as you have said, for this great book and this great time today. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Right. We've come to that time. It's been a great time. There is a lot. The testimony to that is in the chat room. Quite a lot of people have written there. The use of personal examples enriches the story, and all of that. And we really, really want to thank you all for those comments. We want to thank you all for attending today. We want to thank you for consistently being there. There will be no program without you all. And we really, really do appreciate everyone. At this point also, we would like to appreciate the Laterna team, starting from our own dear Mrs. Yinka Morgan and Pastor Remy Morgan, who is the CEO of Laterna. Thank you for the great work that you do. Great team, isn't it? Even the two of them, they're a great team together, and they've built a great Laterna team. And we're drinking from the well of the innovation, the well of the creativity. And don't forget something. It's a good example of what John Maxwell says about the marriage relationship, isn't it? And I think we've seen that in play. They built quite a great organization and a great team. A great shout out, isn't it, to the entire Laterna team. There's so many of you we don't see, we don't hear about, but you do such a great work. Please join me in appreciating the Laterna team, won't you? Out there, raise a hand, give a shout, type something. Before we end today, the next review will be on October 28th. October 28th, we will be reviewing a book, a very peculiar book. The title of that book is My Mother's Daughter. My Mother's Daughter. And it is written by Chief Mrs. Taiwo. It is indeed a biography. It is a biography. And it will indeed be a great time again. We will be sharing on her personal journey. Again, the title of the book, My Mother's Daughter. We do hope to see everyone there on that day. Please prepare to attend. Again, that's going to be on October 28th. That usual time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Yinka Morgan. That's the book. If you can just highlight her, that's the book, My Mother's Daughter. We are going to be reviewing that book, and it's a biography. I think it's good at this point to thank everyone and to wish you a great time today, a great time growing and learning, growing, sharing, and it's going to be great. Thank you so much, for coming in. Except Mrs. Morgan has anything else to add, this might be a point to end it. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Morgan and the entire team. And thank you once again, Pastor Kayode, and everybody who is on the call today. Please, the videos are usually on the Laterna Club YouTube channel. Please visit it again and again. It gives you an opportunity to review all of the things that have been said. The books that have been reviewed today can also be bought at Laterna, 13 Okwao Street in Victoria Island, but they can be delivered to you. You'll see quite a number. If you go scroll through the chat, send them a WhatsApp on those numbers, and they are very, very creative about getting the books. Not just the books. I mean, we're not just about books at Laterna. There are other products, there are innovative products and value-adding products. And please just invest in them. Thank you all so much. See you again on the October the 28th. Thank you so much. Bye.
Or enthusiast. Are you a book lover or enthusiast? Do you need genuine and unique lifestyle products? Or are you looking for a place where you can find contemporary and a wide range of unique gifts for children and adults? Laterna is your go-to place for genuine and contemporary books and lifestyle products for wholesale and retail customers. We stock business books on management, leadership, financial success, entrepreneurship, personal development, and so much more. We carry children's fiction, non-fiction, educational books, CDs, and DVDs. We also stock Christian books on various themes, such as family life and parenting, church life and growth, spirit-filled living, love, sex, and marriage, to mention but a few. Laterna carries life and style books such as baby and child care, beauty and style, conception and pregnancy, crafts, and hobbies. We also carry adult, children, and teenagers' Bibles, educational toys, framed art, gifts, greeting cards, home and office fragrances, music CDs and DVDs, stationery, teachings, and lots more. Our stores are located at 12B and 13 Okwao Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. You can also shop online at www.laternabooks.com. Laterna, your lifestyle hub for book lovers. For inquiries, call 0803-301-4462, 0906-0002046 or 7. Chat with us via WhatsApp on 0803-301-4462. You may also reach us on social media via Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Laterna Books and Laterna Ventures.